Today's day 38 of my transition to raw food diet that has started as an attempt to cure a skin canceroma on my right earlobe, right here, to try to cure it without having to go to a doctor or to do surgery or medicines, just with the power of nature. And so far, the progress has been miraculous. There's still a little bit of it left, perhaps about 5%, but I'm not worried at all. Most of the problem is gone, and so that is a miracle. And I'm just, I'm curious, what is the mechanism that has enabled the body's immune system to all of a sudden become powerful at self-healing? What is it that has caused it? And so my theory was that when a human being is on a cooked food diet, versus the raw food diet, the cooked food it doesn't have living enzymes in it and doesn't have bacteria in it that is symbiotic with bacteria that should be inside a living organism, because this is the type of bacteria that is now feeding on dead matter, because cooked food is no longer living matter. So apparently it is best to eat only living foods that would contain the bacteria that is optimal to be symbiotic with the human body. And that is called microbiome, the ecosystem of microbes that populate the gut, the digestive system, the colon, and apparently they outnumber human cells 1 to 10, so 10 times more than human cells. So, and also the pH, apparently cooked food causes the pH of the body to drop to acidic, whereas raw food changes it to alkaline, and so that is the optimal environment for the immune system to perform at its peak capacity. And so that is my thoughts about it. And also I guess it's a kind of like a yogic sadhana, because cooked food has this creates this intense pleasure-seeking, pleasure gratification relationship, whereas raw food is much more subdued and it doesn't generate intense cravings for itself. There's almost like you're forcing yourself to eat. It doesn't. There's no longer intense desire to eat. So if somebody has had a relationship of intense craving for food, that is a result of cooked food. That is what it does, something to the brain. I guess it overwhelms the dopamine receptors, and as a result, there is a craving that is born to eat more. So the more you eat, the more you want to eat. It's kind of like a vicious circle. And so raw food liberates the brain from this intensity of craving for food. So for that reason also, it's a spiritual practice, or a spiritual austerity, if you will, to just develop this dispassion for food. And with raw food, you're still eating. You're not starving yourself to death. It's just much more subdued, without so much desire for food, for a particular type of food, for a particular amount of food, frequent taking of food, frequent munching. So all of that is gone, and almost gone. I mean, sometimes I ate snacks today. 2 bananas for a snack, and then some water, coconut water. So I wasn't entirely fasting in between meals today. And I had my second meal at 5:30, so I didn't follow the daylight diet. That's why I'm feeling a little bit shitty right now, because I know if I was fasting, if I just drank a coconut water, I would be feeling now amazing. But I was really tempted to make a soup out of carrot and beet, and I put some avocado and some tomato and some sunflower seeds with coconut pulp, and the whole thing was just food of the gods. So even though there's no intensity of craving at the same level that there would be with cooked food, there's still the pleasure with food is still not entirely absent. And so I was, or maybe it's okay, I shouldn't feel guilty. I made a soup and I ate it at 5:30, but hopefully tomorrow I can push the last time that I ate to an earlier timing, perhaps around 2 o'clock. So that is just our relationship with our tongue, what I was talking about yesterday, how in a normal, ordinary human being, it's the tongue that determines what one puts inside one's mouth and not the body's needs so much. There's little education available about the chemical, what the foods are, and we just eat mechanically. We eat for pleasure, and so that creates down the road, that creates illnesses, and that creates depression, and that creates apathy, all these things that later the medical establishment comes in and medicates all these conditions and makes money in the process. So humans have really been tremendously disempowered in our relationship with food, and how to fix this disbalance would be a monumental project. But starting with oneself, one can change how oneself eats, how one's own schedule. The mind quickly learns new habits, and building a new habit, it's really possible. The mind can be reprogrammed, and that is something that I'm surprised, I'm shocked every day that the mind is not something that is set in its ways. It can change its beliefs, it can change its behaviors, and it can be reprogrammed to like things that previously didn't like, and vice versa, to stop liking things that he previously liked. For example, cooked food. I am not craving it now, I'm not missing it, and it used to be the pinnacle of my day in terms of pleasure. I would be looking forward to my next meal of cooked food, and it would just be there would be a strong emotional connection with it. So anyways, raw food is really amazing. It's a yogic discipline. It takes one's yogic consciousness to a whole new level, and so that would be one reason to try to go raw for even just a day. So that is my message for today, and I will continue tomorrow.